And dude, there's going to be a really cool intro. Did I show you yet? Did I show you the sneak peek?
I don't think you showed me a cool intro thing, no.
Okay, so Rigamix, the guy who's like done all the art for this show and my stream, just for fun, was like, I got a little intro for you. So everyone will have seen it before this little intro, and it's cool. And yeah, I'll show it to you once it's edited, because I can't do it on stream, but it will be like part of the edit, which is it's sick.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I didn't show anybody, so you guys are just gonna see it as a surprise. I showed my wife, that was it, and she was like, "Oh, nice." Yeah. But yeah, we had a week. That was a week, and it was sort of what we kind of called last week. 320 felt a little rushed, and it had a lot of problems. And I made lots of memes on Twitter and had fun with it, and people were angry. I don't know. I just wanted to have fun with the situation, so I just made memes. That's basically how I coped. How have you coped so far? Played Arena Commander is my guess, because
Mike, despite the fact that it's one of the worst patch releases in recent years, not worse than 318, but like pretty bad.
Yeah.
I have never had more fun playing Star Citizen, because all I did in the last couple of days is spam Yadar Valley in the Fury LX, and I've actually learnt some good times and whatnot. I managed to get a 57-second today, which I was very, very happy with. So, yeah,
very.
I'm having a great time.
Very interesting.
I'm having a fantastic time.
Do we jump right into it? All I did was fly the ship that I was in a commercial for. So I'm assuming you can see the title: Star Citizen 3.20 patches bugged, and Croncy equals shill. So, in case people have been living under a rock and haven't seen the commercial, the question that everybody is asking you is not the question I really care about. The question that I would ask is, did they approach you? Kind of, what was that like? And so and tell them the story of what we're even talking about.
Yeah, so the Fury LX came out with the release of 320. It is the brand new racing ship. It's the racing variant of the Fury. At the moment, it's looking like it's incredibly fast and maybe a problem, but we'll get to that soon.
What, a ship comes out and it's the best? No
crazy.
way!
I have some stuff to talk about that, because that has actually shaken me to my core, because it's been years since that's happened, like, objectively, and it's happened again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got contacted by Jake, and Jake was like, hey, getting a couple of people from the racing community together for a cool thing, and was very cryptic at the start. And yeah, I said, like, yeah, 100%, I'm down for sure. The sort of process was very interesting. So I didn't know who else was in the trailer at all. We weren't given a script. It was essentially an interview that we did online, where it was just like, hey, here's a bunch of questions. Answer the questions as if you were your in-game character, was sort of the implication.
That's weird.
They used, in my opinion, my worst response.
Nobody there is like a character.
Yeah.
Everybody that I heard is just themselves. So that's a weird thing to say. Okay.
So that's why, that's why I had this line that is very cliche of, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go fast. That's not true. That's not remotely true. But it was kind of fun. And then, it was very, very cool. I didn't get to see, like, I essentially did the interview, didn't get to see what it ended up being until release.
Oh, wow, that's sick. So you just get surprised with what it is. I mean, did you know that's like it was coming for the LX, or I'm assuming you had some suspicions, right, of what?
Well, yeah, the questions were like LX related for a lot of it. Although interestingly, they didn't put any of the LX questions in the video. They just put like a lot of the generic questions about like how's racing, all that sort of stuff. My favorite thing was the reception to the question of is it the ship or the pilot?
Because it looks like it's selling it, right?
It looks like it's selling it, but it's just genuinely what I believe. Look, I haven't seen a pilot cross a finish line. That's all I'm saying. I've seen plenty of ships cross finish lines. But so that was kind of cool. And then the video itself was awesome. It's really cool to be a part of the Star Citizen story in that way, especially because I love every single ship ad, because I just like that they're all sort of treated. Well, the vast majority of them are treated them as if they're like in-universe advertisements, and they get to be a little bit silly with them a lot of the time. I
We
just think it's very
obviously
cool. And so,
are disagreeing on that to some extent. But yeah, I think it's awesome because I was very fortunate back in the day when they were a bit more open to do these things to have a lot of really cool opportunities, and then after 2017 they just stopped completely. It was like a pretty volatile time for like content creators in the space. There was a lot of people were leaving, and there was a lot of new people that were coming in, and nobody knew those people yet at the time. So like as your Bad News Barons, as your WTFosauruses were kind of like, all right, I'm sort of done with SC. I'm bored of this stuff. The Burks, the you, and other people were starting to show up and put their mark on the space. So there wasn't really, and I guess for other reasons they didn't want to work with anybody. I don't know what it was. And now they seem very open to be working with members of the community, and it's really good to see because I know what it made me feel like. It's just like super validating. It's super fun. It's experiences that you'll never forget kind of things. And like yours is not as insane as some of the stuff that I got to do, which is I don't know if they'll ever do that stuff for people again, but it's just so awesome. So when I heard your voice and when I heard Crucian, and I was like, yes, dude, this is so cool. As much as it is a ship sail commercial, which I'm not always the biggest fan of, I was so happy for you guys, obviously, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was super, super cool. One thing that I was kind of disappointed they didn't do was I do love Crucian's voice when he's commentating, and they used someone else's voice, or like they obviously commissioned someone's voice for at the end. There's like a 3, 2, 1, go. It would have been great if they just had Crucian's voice doing that. It would have absolutely popped off.
Yeah.
All of the people they chose
are perfect
for it. Amazing, right?
Black
yeah.
Maze,
So you got Splen,
yeah,
Black Maze, Echo Bit, Diplomat. Everyone is absolutely fantastic in the racing community. Everyone knows all those names. So it's awesome to see that.
I'm not in the racing community, and I know Black Maze and Splen. I didn't know the other two just because I'm not very much in it. But just to clarify, because I saw even like DJ Button ask what I did in 2016. I was flown out to Germany, and I guess this is sort of relevant to the next question I'll ask you. Was not paid anything. But obviously was flown out and accommodated while I was out there. And we were at Gamescom showcasing 2.5.1 I think. So 2.6 wasn't even out yet. And then I won't say who was supposed to go to LA in 2016 to debut Star Marine. He decided to bail, and then I filled in. And so then I also was accommodated in LA to show off Star Marine. And so that was the Star Marine one was probably the coolest because you were part of the development of Star Marine. Like the Star Marine you're playing today, I had a very, very, very minuscule hand in, and I got to see the process. And I got to, that was like, no matter how much you feel the game is a scam, like I knew it wasn't through that process, and I knew it would never be, and I knew how much they cared. But obviously continue to make some silly mistakes, over time. But the experiences of both those things are something I'll never forget. Gamescom was insane. It was me, Bad News Baron, Captain Richard, and DJ Knight, and we just, we'll be brothers forever through that experience, kind of thing, because we spent a lot of time together, right?
For sure.
But yeah, it was awesome, and that's why I was like, I really want more of you guys to experience things like this. I mean, I guess you'll have a miniature version with SitCon and being a part of a CIG event is a really big deal too, because you'll probably see behind the scenes a little bit, and all that stuff is super cool. So yeah, man, very happy for you guys.
Definitely think they're clearly doing more of, because like with Atmo Esports, we get to do the fight or flight on both days of CitizenCon this year. So that's also fantastic, right? But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I was extremely happy to do it. I was not paid. I got a Fury out of it for like 5 minutes of work, so I'm down. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very, very cool.
Cool. Yeah. So that answers the question that everyone is going to ask. They don't pay.
Yeah.
They don't do that stuff because it really, I don't know if it's a rule or whatever. I guess some people can think that the ship's payment. I see somebody in chat saying that. That's whatever. It's a ship.
Which I'm going to be giving away anyway. Like it's just a,
So I mean, I guess in that way, all content creators are paid in the first place anyway that are part of the program that are getting ships. So whatever. If that's how you guys want to think we're getting paid, sure. But I don't know about you. I prefer money to get paid in than star citizenship. So I don't really consider it getting paid.
Yeah.
But yeah, money doesn't pay the Furies don't pay the bills, right? Alpha UEC isn't paying the bills right now.
But that REC that I'm getting on Arena Commander right now, that is paying the bills.
Forget about it. True. I'm Gun Rush 3X REC or whatever it is. Yeah. And just going ham. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about before we talk about the patch a little bit, I do want to say I've been really enjoying doing the podcast. I look forward to it every week. And the views are way up and it's showing. So I'm glad sitting on a cruise ship, bored out of my mind one day, not knowing what to do. You popped in my head, and I was like, "We got to do this. This is the future of the show," and I think it's doing really well. So, if you guys are listening, leave a comment down below. Let us know how you like the version 2 of Answer the Call, because I love it. I'm really, really happy with it.
It's been super fun to be a part of. I knew it was working the second I started to get a dedicated Answer the Call hater.
Yeah.
Who has, I think in every single Answer the Call, has said the exact same thing in the comments.
Croncy is the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
There's somebody that
no, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm the worst thing about it, but it's so much better.
Yeah. Somebody said it on Desync too. They say Burks is the worst thing about the Desync podcast. So I think it's like the same person with multiple accounts. There's just some fucking guy out there just spamming. I usually hide the comments. Like those idiotic comments, I just hide them. So you're still seeing them?
Yeah.
So he's making more accounts, this fucker.
Maybe. But like it feels good. It genuinely feels good. Because it's one of those things where it's like, as long as the majority of the comments are positive, like as long as the majority of the comments aren't all completely negative, then it's a good sign if someone is continuing to be pissed off week after week because they're watching week after week. So thank you for the ad revenue. We appreciate it.
No, but it's been really fun, and I think it's really good. And the only thing I need to change is I need to be more on top of like the admin stuff. I'm used to just posting it and see you later, and I need to be better about like the other stuff behind the scenes of it, because I've been pretty bad with that. But other than that, I'm super happy and I love it, and I look forward to it every week. And yeah. I don't know. I did not look forward to this week of Star Citizen though. And listen, it wasn't as bad. We're still running in. I had the audio bug today, so it's still there.
You had it again? Okay.
Yeah, it's still there. They haven't fixed it yet, and that was the one of all of the issues. Actually, there's two. I'm calling another one out and answer the call tomorrow. I've already recorded, or we can review tomorrow. I've already recorded it. One is the audio issue, because like in their ISCs that we've been bombarded with for the last couple of weeks, is audio is really, really important.
Yeah.
And the other one is repair, refuel, rearm. That one appears to be fixed somewhat. It took me 2 tries and it worked. But those two things, you got to have audio to play the game. You got to be able to quantum travel. You got to be able to repair, refuel, rearm. Like for me, there's probably a couple handfuls of things that just have to work, right? And you can't go live if those things don't work. And that was sort of how I was feeling last week. I forgot about the repair, refuel, rearm issue, but for me, the big thing was like, hey, man, you got to fix this audio thing or you can't go live. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. And they did it. And now look at what they have, and huge database backend, like 318 vibes again. a little bit. It's like, whoa, what is going on here? It doesn't fill me up with confidence. But then you have Arena Commander, which is a lot of fun. So, but also suffering from server issues, which is fucking scary. That scares me.
I can't say it's been the same for me. I've been pretty
30K.
Arena Commander has been pretty flawless. Yeah, 30. I mean, that's once again, that's just always going to happen eventually until like every bug in the world is fixed, right?
Fair, I guess.
But I think I've had one 30K in maybe like 20 games of Gun Rush.
I've had 4, and I've had like it was actually getting to a point where I was starting to like think that there might be a pattern, but then I'm not sure. Was around SPK actually. I was starting to notice that like people were teleporting more and the servers were getting worse when I was on SPK, but I think it's just anecdotal that like whatever server I was on was bad, and that game happened to be SPK because I had it on Echo 11. I just started getting it everywhere, so it was like it was just I'm on a bad server, right? Is what eventually happened, but I've only played Gun Rush, and I've only in the PU really have done salvaging so far this patch.
Yeah,
outside of just Wake of Disaster pirating right now.
Yeah, I tried to spend before today, so I didn't get a chance to go into the PU today. But from what I'm hearing, it's at least significantly better than it was during the week.
It's better, yeah.
I spent most of the week trying to make a video about salvaging and how much it's changed and how much like more money you can make now, and I just could not get a single session working. I was either 30K'ing a lot, or the salvage boxes were completely bugged. Although apparently, like I found out that there was a fix that you could do. Just haven't had a chance to try it.
Oh, the selling, you mean, right?
Yeah, the selling. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just sell like a little bit at a time. I saw Loud Guns made a video of it.
The fix that I saw is essentially just don't stack any boxes on top of each other, and it should work. Because it's like the cargo grid's freaking out when like something underneath it gets sold, and it's like I don't know what to do. I'm floating in the air or whatever.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get the chance to try that out or anything. So PU was very unsuccessful for me this week, and I had no want to do Jumptown. I do enjoy Jumptown in general, but
Wake of Disaster is 10 times Jumptown. Why the fuck would you do Jumptown? Wake of every 2 hours. There's a 10x Jumptown. Like there's no point now. They killed it with Wake, and Wake that's good. Like I really and now I'm worried what they're gonna do is they're gonna be like, well, we can't have that. Our dynamic events, right? And they're just gonna murder it, and they're gonna take the one good thing that, like, today was, and even a couple days ago, Wake pops, and people go to it, and you never know what you're gonna get. So you never know what you're gonna get in terms of the Wake ships. So today it was a Argo Raft, a Redeemer, a Cutlass Black, and a Reclaimer, right? And we went to it almost instantly. What the fuck? Can you hear that? A YouTube video just started playing on my phone. It's 5 feet away from me. So where was I? Okay, so crazy weird ships.
You went to it straight away,
Yeah, we went to it straight away, but there was already someone there. I don't know how they did it, but they got a bunch of Weevil eggs off of like 40 SU of Weevil eggs. So we're talking about 4.4 million.
Jesus,
right? Just Weevil eggs off of I'm assuming the Reclaimer. And he gets away. We were a mess because everyone's all over the place, and you have to get there all at once, but you can't because it's super far away. One person's got to jump, then you jump to them, or everybody's got to spend 150K. So it's just like it was such a mess. So we're like learning the process. But then so the guy gets away, and we're like, well, he's got to sell somewhere. So we all go to the sell locations, and then somebody else, because of those awesome salvage missions, was just doing their own, not Wake, and had to come to a salvage place to sell. And who was there to take them out? It was me, Cutlet, and crew, and he didn't make it out. But so I was like, hopefully I finished before the podcast. I died at 10 a.m. I died, and here's how I died. It's pretty funny. In a C2 on Euterpe, and the C2 is from the wind flying across the surface of Euterpe at easily 200 meters per second. I'm trying to throw boxes out of it, and they hit the side. Because I was trying to throw boxes out of it before I started moving, and I had one in the air, and then I started moving. So I'm like trying to get it out. I can't get it out. It hits the side of the ship. Hard deaths the ship. I'm dead. So that's how it ended. But
dynamic gameplay.
Yes, and like that's why I was like, please don't nerf Wake, because this is what Jumptown should be. It's not about how much money. If you cared about how much money, you would have wiped, right?
Yeah.
So if you cared about how much money, you would have wiped all the exploits that happened in the previous patch. Clearly, you don't give a shit. So let us have some fun. But yeah, so I've been enjoying it and just gun rushing like crazy. Obviously, the major issue with gun rush is the can't shoot bug, which has been happening a lot. Just hold R and then press the button that correlates for your gun. A pistol's 1, a regular gun's 2, and the big ass gun, like railgun, is 3. So that's the quickest way to fix it. That's the quickest way. It's not fun when you spawn next to somebody. But yeah, I've been doing well.
Well, gun rush ends in like an hour and a half. So it rotates today to master modes.
People are mad. Yeah. People are mad about that.
About the fact that it's a rotating format?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think? Because I sort of get where they're coming from, but I also sort of think that they're being maybe a little bit unreasonable being mad. I think it's completely unreasonable to be mad about that. It was always advertised, like experimental modes, other than in PTU, it was advertised as a rotating format. And I think that's completely fine. I never say this during the podcast. DJ Button, Duncan, the guy who is on the shows talking about Arena Commander, someone threatened violence against him because of rotating master modes. This is the internet, man. It's so nuts. It's so nuts. But the only like thing that I understand is if you're bummed out because you really like a mode and want to play it all the time. Like I am livid that Gun Rush is not going to be a dedicated mode. It is it needs to be. It is so fun. I want it to be a dedicated mode. I'm not going to play other modes of Star Marine. Yes, I am, but I don't want to, right? I just want to play Gun Rush, but now I'm forced to play the other ones, which is the point. They want to be able to test all these. This is the very early stages of bringing all this stuff back, and that was their argument, I guess, against it, is they want to make sure everybody's trying the modes and they can, fix issues with things like tank battle that maybe you're not going to see, or fix issues with I don't know how you deal with the data pads in one of the, whatever the Star Marine mode is. I forgot the name of it now. Because who cares? Gun Rush.
I think it's also, there's like a part that you didn't mention as well, which is just like it gives them really good data on like just what do people enjoy by forcing people to play, like Gun Rush for the past week. Not necessarily as much with master modes, but when we get to the tank battles and whatnot, it lets them know, hey, when we did Gun Rush, absolutely popped off. Every server was completely full for like the whole week. When we did team deathmatch tanks, that was not the case.
Played.
So people don't like it as much. So we're not going to invest more time on that necessarily, right? So
exactly.
It's a good way to do it, especially because it's important to remember these are likely not to be the last of the experimental modes. The ones we've seen in PTU and whatnot. It's probably going to be more in the future. There's probably going to be changes to a lot of these in the future. Yeah, and all of them will benefit from going like this.
Yeah, there'll be completely new ones. Like if you watch the SCL, it sounds like DJ all he does is, oh, that could be an experimental mode. Ooh, that's an interesting experimental mode. I keep calling competitive mining experimental mode, right? Because we watched a farm sim esports together, and it was like, this could totally be a thing. It'd be super fun, right? You get to choose your mining laser. You get to choose what setup you come with, and then you're both mining the same rocks. and then who does it faster, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with everything. I've enjoyed the time when it's worked, but I've never been so I typically would be like, wow, that's stupid, or wow, I'm angry. I'm just like, I'm not even upset. I'm just disappointed at this point. You know, it's just like I was really sad about the way they're handling everything.
Yeah, I've got ready. I'm ready to make a short, and I've cut everything out for this week. Where it's you last week saying, and next week's topic 320 got pushed early, and then it's just going to be like the reaction from today of so 320 got pushed early. Yeah, exactly. So I guess like the fact that you were expecting it, I was still, even when you were telling me everything, I was still not expecting 320 to come out. I was sure they wouldn't push it in the state that it was. The fact that it did happen, it happened. Luckily, I was able to play Arena Commander for a lot of it, and the fact that it is mostly Arena Commander update meant that I still had an amazing time, which is awesome. But a lot of people aren't. Yeah. There was I don't have like the link for it, but I was like, why did they push it? Because it just feels weird. And there was a post from, I think it was from Jake, in Spectrum, that said the reason that it got pushed to live is because the QA team needs to start working on 320.x, which is still interesting to me because is that, well, I mean, they know more than me, I'm sure, but like, is that the correct play? Like obviously we're probably going to get a 320x for like CitizenCon, right? That's going to be huge. You want there to be new content around that time, presumably. But like, if the game is so much worse for this week, is it worth it? I feel like it's not, right?
No, your .0. This is the weirdest time, because if you look at the roadmap roundup this week too, is the .x patches aren't fixed patches. They're fucking feature patches. So it's, you know, it's not, this is a weird situation where 320, everyone's calling it lacking PU from the PU standpoint. And it sort of is, and it sort of isn't, right? You can call a lot of the quality of life stuff and the way salvaging, you know, all that shit is good, right? Mining fixes, we love that. Somebody asked, Marty asked in chat, when are we going to do a mole stream? As soon as the servers are decent, right? Because it's pretty negatively affected by that. But the thing about it is, it's a feature patch. Features cause more instability. And it's weird. It's like the vehicle tractor beams were probably supposed to be in this patch, didn't make it, right? And then whatever's coming in the .2 or whatever was, you know, probably supposed to be in this patch, didn't make it. And now this is a unique situation that isn't. This is like 317. You had 317, then you had 317.2, which was like, things happened in that patch, and we could have called it 318 from their perspective, even though it was still 317. I'm not making any excuses for them, because you just got done telling us in the postmortem that you're going to treat the live servers like live servers, and then you treated them like, that doesn't even feel like a test. You knew it was broken. And you knew you had no fix for it, and you still, like, it wasn't even throwing it out there like, help us fix this. It was, I mean, it was just, I don't know what it is. And the thing is they have explained to us in the past. I think when Jared got up and explained on the whiteboard that process, that's what we're going through right now. Is like, this is this branch, and then they're in another branch, and they need to leave this branch and go to that branch, or we're never going to make progress on the game. And that's essentially what's happening right now. But you can't leave and that's why I mentioned in the beginning, those core things: audio, repair and refuel, rearm. You can't move on without those, guys. Like, I don't think I'm being unreasonable. I'm asking for the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah,
that's the bare minimum.
Audio especially is notoriously, through pretty much all media forms, is by far one of the most important things as like an industry standard.
Yeah.
Because people will deal more with like bad frame rates than they will do with bad audio.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even we've dealt with bad frame rates for years in this game, right? Yeah. And you could still like get by with it, but you can't play without sound. But even then, I think the community's probably gotten even away from that a little bit and is now more interested in the community has let them know based on their willingness to buy ships, probably their willingness to play the game at this point, that their expectations are a little bit higher, and they didn't meet those expectations. And I think the biggest, scariest thing was the database stuff. That scares me because that does not spark any confidence that we're in a place where we're ready to move to the next step of like not necessarily server meshing, because I don't think they're entirely related, but like, can you do this? Can you make this happen? Like, this patch didn't have a lot of shit in it, and it still fell apart. It's kind of nerve wracking as a backer. Like, it's feeling doomy, and I don't want to feel doomy. I wanted to be excited for this patch. I wanted to be excited so bad, and they disappointed me so hard with the way they handled it. Yeah.
Very interesting. It was weird. It was very interesting. And if you guys want to talk to us about how 320 was received for you, except for Aimless in chat, who I know just can't log in, make sure you guys come answer the call. Discord.gg/SaltEMike.
And we have somebody on the line right now, so we could bring him on and we'll talk to him for a little bit. Sid the Squid. Sid, can you hear us? You've been waiting for hours. So I don't even know. He might be AFK.
I'm here.
He's here.
Hello, Sid. How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Don't hype me up too much because I've been waiting super long. No, yeah. First time caller, somewhat long time listener. I just wanted to talk about CitizenCon. I know that's pretty much what everyone wants to talk about. As far as them, like, my expectations are super low just because all this stuff that was like going to be near completion back in like 2022, like the EVA in the Moby Glass, the quantum boost, the movement system, the minimap, all these things haven't been put into the PU. So I'm like, well, clearly they're not even done in Squadron yet. Because if they were done for Squadron, they would just move them over immediately, I think. And stuff like, like night vision and dark. Like, is there no like night missions in Squadron 42? Because if there were, wouldn't they already have the like,
True.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so many little things like that. Like, or like when you have a gun on your back and one in your hand, and you just throw your gun on the floor when you pull up the Moby Glass. It's like, are they really going to just have you tossing a gun on the floor if it's almost done? Like, I don't know. Like, I know we were just talking about doomerism a little bit earlier, but I'm just dooming like crazy. Like I backed this back in 2013. Like I've been waiting 10 years for this, so it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. How are you guys? Like, what are your guys' expectations, like 1 through 10 for CitizenCon?
Well, so first, I think having low expectations for anything with CIG is always 100% the way to go, because then you're always impressed.
True. That's true.
Always. It works every time. If you expected 320 to release like 318, you would have been a little happy when it actually released this week. So,
right.
100% that's the case. I think we've talked a little bit in the last couple of ATCs about CitizenCon, obviously, especially in regards to like what sort of things do we think are going to get announced? And other than Squadron 42 stuff, which it just has to happen. Like, if it doesn't happen, it's going to be crazy. Right. Other than that, I'm actually not expecting too much either, honestly. I do think, technically the 320.x patches only really just got officially announced like a week or two ago, and there hasn't been much talk. Like we had one roadmap roundup where things got added to it that we were already expecting to get added to it. So there is still the ability for some of those things that they mentioned at the end of last year to come into those patches, if not those, a 321 or whatnot. They're probably going to talk about them again at CitizenCon, almost definitely. It is only like, what, 25 days away or so. So
yeah, I mean, name three to 5 panels is probably pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Might have a legitimate economy panel again, but hopefully, like, possibly a legitimate one instead of a PowerPoint. Maybe a what's it called? Resource management. Outside that, you'll have your typical planet tech bullshit and all the maybe a sound thing, right? But
we're bound to see locations of different types as well. Like, we'll probably see some more stuff on colonial outposts, settlements, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, that's still fairly low. That's for me low expectations. I don't know what a high expectation would be. I just because I kind of go along the lines with Croncy, but they really haven't given you an out to get super excited about, because it's like Pyro again. All right, I don't really believe you. You gotta show it now. You gotta prove it. You can't just keep showing it. What would it be? Is another planet something worth getting, like another star system worth getting excited about? No, because you gotta prove we can go there.
And the current one's just super empty, so it's like
exactly. So it's like, what's it gonna be? So for me, I think the only thing that would excite me is economy changes that aren't necessarily involving quantum that they're doing in the short term. That would be my highlight. And it sounds like that's something that they want to do, and that is a very low bar.
Yeah.
So I just want to make the current game better. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm curious if they'll even have any type of engineering in this single player, just because they've only...
Yes.
You think they will?
Yeah.
I don't have to think. We know because Squadron 42 monthly report this week mentioned resource management being a thing. So
great. Okay.
It likely will be some part of it, but we don't know how much.
And also significantly easier for them to put into Squadron, because they can essentially just script it instead of having to get it to work with, a server.
Other players. Right.
Yeah.
I just know, because I think it was the IFC a while back. They were like, oh yeah, so we've got the clearly defined 3 roles, and we know what those are going to look like, but they actually hadn't started working on them at that point, I don't think. It was the one where they had, like, the guy, like, sitting on the toilet, and it was, like, overflowing or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all
sure.
fake stuff.
I know, that was the IFC, it wasn't, I think he talked about it. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it, guys.
Okay, well, thanks for calling, man, and thanks for waiting, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean,
He's been here since 7 a.m., guys.
Yeah, it's my first time actually listening live. I usually catch it later on YouTube, so I was just happened to be awake. Anyway, awesome, guys. Good work.
Yeah, I will say, look, there's one thing that you should be excited about, that I'm very excited about, and I do have high expectations for, which is just meeting the community. It's been 4 years since the last live CitizenCon. Lots of cool people in the community. So if you're not coming to CitizenCon, people in chat, get wrecked. You're going to miss out.
Well, no, you just come here, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. And because I'm definitely going to be covering it. They had Squid, we'll let you go, by the way. Thank you so much.
Okay, right on. Yep.
Later, buddy. But yeah, I will be going to it, or I will be covering it, because I'm not going to it. And then they just had a post this week of like, there'll be a long time in between each panel. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So
you're going to watch me.
I'm going to call you.
You're going to watch me at Fight or Flight.
I'm going to watch Fight or Flight. I'm going to play the game, hopefully, because people keep saying, they haven't officially said anything as far as I'm aware. People keep mentioning the idea of there would be a patch around that time, maybe at that CitizenCon. I mean, if there's a patch that drops, I'm going to be playing the patch in between the panels, I assume. But so I'm going to be covering it. They did that 2
years ago, right?
Yeah.
They did that with the 400 iron stuff, so wouldn't be crazy.
So that's sort of my plan, is to cover it solo by myself. Maybe call you on Discord, call Burks on Discord, call Morph and other friends that are at the event, and see how they're doing, see, how the Wi-Fi is there, I guess, and just see how it is. So yeah, I'll look after all the babies on the internet, and you guys go have fun and have drinks and enjoy each other's company. But yeah, we got another caller. You want to bring him on?
Yeah, let's bring in Dead-Eyed Dixon.
Dead-Eyed Dixon. What's up, man? Can you hear us?
What's up? Hey, how are you guys?
I'm good.
Pretty
Another
good.
first-time caller, right?
Yeah, I listened to you for.
Awesome.
I've listened to you for quite a while, but I've never called in.
Nice.
Yeah, I just want to call in and complain about the new cargo changes.
The new cargo
okay.
changes. Okay.
Yeah, I love cargo in the game. I've been a huge fan of it. It's probably my favorite profession, and I'm not like into combat at all. And I just can't believe. I'm just very disappointed in like.
You talking about the ISC?
I'm talking about the changes with the whole C and like loading cargo and like physicalizing it and everything. It's just like I think the best time I had in the game was a couple years ago when they had like a bug with the Laranite where you could like get unlimited amounts of it. And my friends and I would always go and we would load up whole caterpillars full of Laranite, and it just worked, and it was fun. And I feel like the game has progressively gotten worse in terms of like cargo trading over the last couple years. I just want to know what you guys thought about that, because I was very disappointed that, you know, we get these like minor changes essentially in cargo, and it still just doesn't work. Like it's like I've been trying to get it to work for like several days now. I don't know what you guys think about that, but
I mean, I think looking back at an exploit and being like that was the best times of the game is kind of telling of where cargo is and where it sort of needs to be. I think one of the bigger problems with cargo is that you can't. It's so difficult to fill your ship with what you want to fill your ship with, but it's. I kind of talked to, and when I gave my feedback about mining, is there's a lot of information the player needs, but the HUD isn't giving it to you. So you're doing all this like guesswork, and you're not understanding why something isn't working. And I think that's like the biggest problem with cargo is like, yeah, you can't get the titanium that you wanted, but why? And like it's you know, like, how can I make it better? How can I have more fun? And the system is so in its infancy still because they just left it alone forever that you're not being communicated as a cargo hauler like how to have more fun.
Well, it just worries me about like the future of the game, because it's like it's such a small change. Like I feel like cargo, even with the whole C changes that have been in, it's essentially the same loop that we've had since I joined in like 2019.
Yeah.
So it's like it's essentially the same loop, but they still can't get it to work, and it's just like. How does that reflect on like future gameplay loops? Like, because from my understanding, things are supposed to get like way more complicated and interconnected. Or at least that's what I hope they would.
Sure.
And it's like, how are we going to get those things to work when we can't get it to work from this like small cargo change to where now you like, instead of like the cargo magically appearing, you like fly next to a station and it magically appears like slower.
Let me jump in here a little bit. That system, I agree, is horrendous, and it makes no sense. But if you look at the rest of the game, I'm going to be the positive ray of light here. If you look at the rest of the game, so you're talking about like this awful legacy cargo system, but if you look at the rest of the game, the way cargo is working is just simpler. Right? It spawns on the ship. You pull it out, you grab it, you take what you need, you leave what you don't want, and you're fine. And all of that should work a lot better with the current more complicated systems that they want to do. Yes, it's a little bit more maybe hands-on, but I think for me, and what you're worried about is also what I'm worried about, is the automated stuff. Is that going to work? How well is that going to work? Is it going to be affected by the server? All that stuff. And will that come in when we still have horrendous servers? Most likely. So, yes, I share similar concerns, but I also look at the current changes of some things, and it's more fun to me. But I assume you're more of the like freelancer, Rebel Galaxy, privateer type player that it's like I click a button, I move a bar, I have my cargo, I go to the next place, I move the bar the other way, I sell, and I'm done. And you prefer that, right? But
I don't think I'm that type of player. Like I understand what they're trying to do, and I follow the news a lot, and I understand that this is like an intermediary step. And I don't want to come on here and sound like too like negative.
I don't think you do.
It's just that I take like long breaks from the game, and I still like I just watch content. Like I watch your content, I watch some other people's, and I don't play as often between patches. And it's like I come back after like a long amount of time, but because I've just been waiting for like any cargo changes.
Yeah,
because it's like
let's go.
The cargo, because I remember the cargo deck came out, and I was like, oh, this is cool, because it was like they advertised it. They were like, oh, this is a feature. You know, we got cargo decks now, and then it ended up being like literally nothing. And so when the whole C came out, I thought, well, they have to make changes, and it has to be better because it's so much more cargo you're grabbing with the whole C and the bigger boxes. And I get on in the past couple of days, and it's just like nothing works. Like, I can't undock the whole C. I get the spindles get caught on the thing. Like it doesn't recognize that I'm in the cargo area. And I'm like, I just get frustrated with like, I understand that it's an intermediary step, and I want it to, I think you're right in that, like, it will fix some things when it's like, oh, the cargo is physicalized and you're moving it. And so I get that, but I would like to see just, they just released a thing, and I've heard you talk about this, where it's like, we want the game to be like more playable right now. And it's like, I see this, and then it just doesn't work.
It sucks because in the PTU, there weren't as many of those issues at the start, and then they gradually got worse over time. So like the whole C and the design of the system around the whole C just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense to have to get out of your ship, take 2 elevators to buy something, run all the way back, go to another location to load it, then to fly somewhere else to then get out of your ship, take 2 elevators to click a sell button, and then to fly over to another place and wait for it to come off, right? It's just like the craziest, weirdest system. But
yeah. I think a lot of the issues I have with cargo at the moment just come from the entire feature itself. I think they are trying to do something more complex but more simple at the same time than like every other space game, where it's like all these other space games, a lot of the actual active trading is mostly spent figuring out what is profitable, figuring out how you can undercut other people, figuring out how you can use those items to craft things later on, and just none of those systems are in Star Citizen. Barely any of those systems have been talked about being in Star Citizen. And then they bring out the Hull C, and it's essentially the exact same gameplay that we have currently. But yeah, more prone to bugs, more prone to griefing with people just sitting inside your Hull C while you're trying to load it, sort of thing. And it's a bit daunting. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because it's like, if you think about it, the only changes they've made to cargo in years really only benefit pirates. Like, there's been no changes that benefit like people who actually want to cargo haul, because they physicalize cargo, which I think is cool, but that really only helps in that pirates can now like have incentive to steal your cargo. It doesn't change the loop at all of like cargo spawns in your ship and you fly it to the next place, which is fun. Like I like to be that kind of player and that's what I thought I would do with the whole C, where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go from station to station and just enjoy flying, but you can't even do that. So it's like,
I see somebody in chat, and this is such a good question: is who's the audience? Do they think about that?
I do know who the audience is. I have had a couple of people say like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to be moving all this cargo and stuff, which is crazy to me.
I'm that person. But I cannot be the majority. I can't.
I don't know. It might be surprising. You know what we should do? Let's do a YouTube poll. We'll chuck a YouTube poll up.
True.
Is this what you want to do?
I'll do it. I'll try and do it. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe I can't. I could probably do it on my phone, a Twitch one. Now as well. But the for me, I'm kind of like, I would want to know how to. I would maybe want to think of how to phrase it, maybe. But the I don't think I can make a poll from here. Maybe. Oh yeah, I can. Oh no, I can't. Good old Twitch app is not as good as the regular one. But anyway, I can. We'll do a YouTube poll. There's a bigger audience anyway. And the The thing for me though is just I don't think the audience for these things are as big as they think they are. I think most players are going to use the automated systems. I love refining the way it is now. Am I going to love refining as much on the ship when it comes in?
If it's
Probably.
active, if you're like actively refining, I think it'll be good.
Like I think it's going to be pretty sick. But at the same time, being able to refine while I'm asleep is also really good. You know?
Yeah, I think those kind of mechanics are like why people play Star Citizen. I mean, it's like the immersion of like, okay, I'm going to go pick up my cargo box and I'm going to put it on the ship. And it's like, I think that most people that play now are like okay with that. Maybe if the game got like significantly bigger, you're going to have more like, you know, less hardcore people joining the game. But I that's why I play it. And that's what's so disappointing to me is like, I'm so easy to entertain in Star Citizen. Like sometimes I just log in to fly around. And that's why it's like, I was so excited. Like, okay, maybe I can, you know, do something more with the whole sea. And it's like, you know, like good luck.
And you watch my content? You seem like the complete opposite of my audience.
Well, I enjoy like
really base take, but
I enjoy like all of the discussion on Star Citizen. So I get real worked up, but yeah, I enjoy watching you. So regardless if we have a difference of opinion.
I appreciate it. I do, because some people just can't recognize that it's okay to not see eye to eye, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think it could be, I think that they're adding like 35 steps to a system that needs one. I think it sounds, what's frustrating is you put a bunch of developers who are not public speakers in front of a camera to explain their system that's not even close to being ready to, like, are they even prototyping? We don't even know. And assuming no, because they were willing to show a prototype of hull munching? Yeah, munching, whatever.
Yeah, hull munching,
but they weren't able to show any prototypes of this. So that's kind of like, well, then you're just talking about this. You haven't even worked on it. And you're trying to tell us how it's going to be. And we're taking that information as set in stone, solid. This is how it's going to be, because that's what the Star Citizen community does. And it's not going to be that way. And I appreciate giving more sandbox tools, you know, a shovel and a rake and a bucket, and, you know, keep adding the tools there. But you got to add the sand too, and it's got to make sense. And, you know, you got to have some water on that sand so we can pack it. And for now, it's they're explaining a system in which, and they lightly touched on it, the economy doesn't tie into either. So it's like, why am I doing these things? What am I doing them for? Why is it fun? It's hard to deal with, because they mentioned the word friction. If you're going to add that friction, what fun are you adding to it? Because I don't see it by their discussion right now. I see a lot of tedium, and it's tedium that I enjoy, so it's fun for me, but I'm still thinking of the average player. There's no fucking way they're going to like this. No way.
It's funny because I like empathize with CIG, because like they have to get revenue. Like they have to be making money, and they have to be like trying to keep this game live service. So like I understand that it's hard, and they want to be keeping us excited and adding new content, but but this is, man, it's so weird because I think about like new players trying the game for the first time, and it's like I've had so many friends that will like I convinced to join, and it's like initially they're blown away. Like
You're
it's
a
like
bad
that.
Friend.
Yeah, I am, but it's like all those YouTube videos that come up where they're like my first time, you know, stepping onto a planet, and they all get that moment. But then afterwards, you start to realize like, okay, it's, you know, there's not a lot to the game, and man, I just wish they would work on this small stuff and just do it right, and give me a little more faith for stuff upcoming. But
I mean, I think that's a little bit of what 320 was. They just got to keep it going, and they got to make sure that they launch with important features functioning. That's it.
Yeah, I think this upcoming CitizenCon is pretty big. I know they say that every year, but it's like, I really, man, I've been hearing about Pyro so much. I really would like to see some, you know, economy changes or like anything that I can sink my teeth into. Sorry, what were you saying, Croncy?
I was just going to say, so in your specific example with like, you're bringing new friends in and then them sort of being like, all right, this is fantastic, but there's not really much to do. Mike and I have talked about this a little bit before, which is just that there's no real sense of progression in the game at all right now, other than stuff that you make for yourself, where you have like personal goals to buy ships, or you have let's get the best time on Yadar Valley, that sort of thing. So you can still have fun in the game, but there's no in-game mechanics, and haven't been any in-game mechanics ever, as far as I'm aware, that have been relevant to that aspect. So it makes bringing new people in quite hard.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too?
Yeah,
that I find is like, I feel like they know that. Like, I feel like I hear them in videos talk about like, we want our game to be like interconnected, and all the economy stuff works together, and there's like multi-crew. But I just never see them make like small changes they could make to ships to like make multi-crew work right now, or make the interconnected economy work. Like I just tried to do this the other day with a random guy I met in the game, where I was like, hey, like, you fly my whole sea, and I'm going to see if I can like buy the cargo and you just already be on the outside of the station and like load it up. And it's like, it just doesn't recognize.
Can't be on the ship. Yeah. He's got to be off the ship for you to do that. Cause it's, and that's
and
one of those things where it's like, they asked a quality of life list. I forgot about that one, because there's 1,000 of those examples is the problem, right? Like that needs to be a thing that they fix. I need to be able to be on the ship. Apparently, someone in chat says it can load with passengers, just the whole sea, but other ships it doesn't work. I don't know.
Well, there's just a lot of things like that are like, that just could work right now, it feels like, but they just don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think
they
also
do, though.
Like, yeah, they do, but then also in some of the situations where you're like, this could work right now, the reason they're not doing it is because they're going to do something else.
But they got to stop doing that.
Sometimes they do anyway. Sometimes they go, all right, we're going to put in a temporary solution anyway. And it's like, well, why? Well, don't. The whole sea is a temporary solution, right?
But not just the whole sea. But they have to. This is where, like, I feel the complete opposite of they need to do more of that. 30K protection. What's that? That's a mitigating thing for something that they're going to change in the future. And there's, I think, a couple other examples of them doing this more recently, because they're recognizing that we can't keep saying we're going to fix something years away and expect our community to be okay with it, because they're not. And it's because they know that it's reasonable for us to be like, yo, what the fuck, man? You can't let us sit here and deal with this, right? For this long, saying that you're going to fix it eventually. You gotta put these little fixes in now in the short term. And that's what I think Deadeye's saying, and that's sort of where I agree, is you gotta give us something now, even though it might change later. And if it makes the game take longer to come out, I mean, at this point, what year are we going into? 11, 12? I don't even know anymore. It doesn't matter. Just deliver a decent playable experience now. Allow people to enjoy it while they're still here on Earth, and that's it. Like, I know I'm joking, but it's not even a joke for some people, right? Just allow them to enjoy the game, and it'll happen when it happens. And I think the community is pretty patient as far as, if the game is enjoyable and playable, they're not going to give you that hard of a time, Yeah,
and, I think community expectations are fairly low. I think they don't expect too much, but I just want some like indication that they, like, small changes like you're talking about, like, give some indication that like they understand, like, it gives me faith that they're moving in a direction where it's like they understand like interconnectivity and the economy. And like, sometimes I look at things, I'm like, man, do they really not think about like this thing? But
I think they think about, but it's a matter of doing. But all right, Deadeye, we're gonna let you go because we got another caller and we've been on for quite a while. But I appreciated it.
I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
Cheers.
Hope to hear from you again soon.
Okay, see you.
Yeah, later, man. All right, we got Aimless on the line as well. Aimless, what's up? Can you hear us?
Yep.
Awesome. What's up, man?
Hello.
Hello.
Now, remember, Aimless, I said no complaining about not being able to log in, okay?
Well, I've called in to talk about complaining, so there we go. But thanks, gents, for a fantastic show. But no, it's just DJ's comment about sort of people sending threats and stuff. And
what the hell?
It's been, I mean, I've been a backer for 8 years now, and a big watcher of both your stuff, and this year has been a rough year as a backer. I mean, for someone like me, because there's been 3 different times this year where I can't even get in the game. Sometimes for months at a time, and that's pretty
Spend
maddening.
Too much money.
And well, I mean, I'm not concierge, but I've spent a significant amount of time back in the game over these years, and it's not so much that it makes you feel mad, but it does make you feel a bit stupid because it's like what are you doing? You can't even get in this game, and they don't seem to sort of prioritize that. But I mean, it's just if you're threatening people though that you want to fix that situation, what are you doing? That's just deranged. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's not on.
That's chronically online stuff right there. You know, it's just.
I mean, I jump up and down and complain a bit sometimes, but it does seem that sometimes that's the only way you can get addressed. I mean, today when they were doing the patch, I jumped up and down on Spectrum a bit, and sure enough,
no 10-year ban.
No, not this time.
Half my Discord's got a 10-year ban.
I have been moderated once in the past, but it's but sometimes that's what it seems to take to get an answer. And it's like today, Will piped up and sort of said, "Yep, they're going to look into it."
On what thing?
I've got the
Aimless has been having login problems.
Oh, your specific issue. Your specific issue. Yeah,
it's the problem where you can log in once, but after that, when you go to the PU screen, there's no enter star system button or no region select. So
nice.
Pretty much you're locked out of the PU.
I need that
point.
bug. I'd be so much happier.
Many hours.
Yeah. It was there all the way through the PTU, and it's been there as a critical bug. We've got 400 odd people reported on it. So it's not like it's been this mystery thing.
Yeah, it's not just you either.
But sort of people just roll with it, and sort of you see people complaining about the sound bug and all this other thing, but there's this big group of people out there that can't even get in the game. And it's, I mean, what are those sort of people expected to do in a situation like this? It's sort of been a week now that it's been on live, and there's been nothing really said on it, but
I mean, that goes back to what Mike was saying, right? Like, that is a bug that just should not have existed on a live patch at all.
Yeah, it's especially since not like it's been under investigation since August and marked as critical. It's like, what's happening in their system where you can have that issue there and marked critical and marked as being under investigation, but it just sort of sails through. But
this goes back to a whole nother issue that really grinds my gears, and I said something to them, and I think that they're going to try and figure out what the hell's going on. But when I can go directly to a developer that I know works on this specific feature and be like, hey, did you know that this is a problem? And then them go, no. When, you know, and then you go to the IC report and it's marked fixed on the IC and it's still broken now, that's a problem. So there's something. I mean, that's kind of what I felt bad about today, because I jumped up and down in testing chat until, and that's what it took.
Will Everett sort of said, "Oh, like what's the problem?" And I said, "Oh, this is happening," and he said, "Oh," and he didn't know about it.
Of course not.
So I mean,
it's the same thing.
It's bad in a way that he didn't know about it, but it's good in a way that he said, "Look, we'll go check it out on Monday," sort of thing. Which is bad in a way, because it means that the poor suckers that have been trying to fix this bug for the last 2 months are now going to get a visit from Will Everett. But
but it doesn't matter, because what ends up happening is when you finally get it to the person who needs it, it gets fixed. But why? But it shouldn't be a situation where someone like myself has to do that. There's a step in the process where something broke. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. That's up for them to figure out. But they have to understand that there's some part of this process that's broken. Because I shouldn't be able to. It's a fortunate situation that I'm in, that I'm able to DM some people that work at the company, right? And I can go, well, I know this person works on missions, and he stops by my chat sometimes. So when he does stop by my chat, I could be like, hey, Elliot Malpe, did you know that this was a thing? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, thanks. And then they go and work on it. And then sometimes they'll DM me on like an update of like, hey, we're struggling with it, or, oh, thanks a lot, right? And it's like, that shouldn't be the process. That is the best process to fix the game. They have all these steps to spend all this time and all this money with Turbulent and shit to make an IC report thing, and it doesn't fucking work. So, you want to start somewhere. That's probably going to be a good place to start, I think. Is wherever the ICs are being sent to the devs are like, because this is a process that starts in Evo and is problematic through that process as well. Like Evo,
and
we're telling them most of these
that.
issues. Yeah, but in Evo, even in this one, you're telling them most of these issues exist, and they still exist in the live patch today. And these are those pillar issues that are problems. These aren't, minor things. So there's some step in the process that's busted.
Yeah, and it is something they're aware of as well. I mean, we've seen that they've made major changes to the issue council just this cycle. So. I mean, they're aware of it as well, but it's at what point do you say, well, that's okay that you're working on it, and which point is it time to start getting it right? And
I mean, I could think of two people off the top of my head that are like the best testers on the fucking planet. Don't even have the game installed anymore. They feel so disenfranchised by like the hard work they put in to share these bugs with them, and nothing happened with it. It's got to be frustrating. You can't. Keep leaning on us as your QA team.
That was me 6 months ago.
there you go, right? Like it gets frustrating. You do all this hard work and they don't do anything with it. It pisses people off, and I don't blame them. I don't give a shit about testing anymore.
Into Evo, so
yeah. Well, why Evo test if they don't do anything? And I think that's what a lot of people are starting to feel. And
I mean, you can. It is still. I mean, I sometimes wonder now, am I even interested in Star Citizen? And it's about the project. It's like, it's being part of that thing where you can go in and like find a problem and if you report it in the right way and it's fixable and it gets fixed, and that actually feels pretty good. And then you can see it in the game when the patch comes out and you think, oh, look, that was pretty good. And then sometimes I wonder if that's not in the project, is there anything special about Star Citizen enough to make it interesting down the track? Whereas, is it the process that we're in? It's like being in one of those early access games where you can imagine all the good things to come without having to have them there.
Maybe. I think some people love the process. They clearly talk about it a lot on Spectrum or Reddit. You don't understand game development or blah, blah, blah. They're making those type of comments. So I think some people love the process, but I think most people are here for the game's promise, not the process, like what it could be still. I know that's why I'm here. I'm still just sitting around hoping it's going to be the game of my dreams. And on some days it feels that way, and most days it doesn't. But yeah. I think that's
Mike has
personally
never
why I'm
had
here.
fun playing Star Citizen ever.
Not true. Not true. Gun Rush is my new best friend.
Yeah.
But
I don't have much to add because the testing stuff is very much something that I'm just completely disconnected with. I upvote things when they happen, and then I don't complain much in my life at all anyway.
Yeah.
But especially Aimless coming into my chat every day complaining. It's nice to. It's good to hear from a lot of people who are like, yeah, I can't even get into the game, which is just such an even worse problem, for the majority of the game. Because I mean, presumably, maybe it can't, but presumably that could be happening with new backers as well right now.
Sure,
right?
Why not?
So
I've really struggled with that this year. I mean, I know coming into your chat for 317, and I was absolutely livid that it had been that long stretch of time, and 317 when we had those 40k bugs, and people just couldn't get in, and CIG was saying nothing. And it was like you had this huge that was thousands of people, and you just could not get into the game. You couldn't even log in at all, and it was like. And you'd rock up to a channel like Croncy's, and like Croncy's positive, and you kind of just like, what do you say? Like, you're just livid that you can't get into the game and you're watching other people play.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you just got to say, nah, you just can't say anything at all. But then you're disconnected from the community. So it's like, it's a weird one.
Well, the trick is you just blame us for streamer privilege.
Yes. Like somebody in chat said, I think one of the best ways to solve bugs is get a streamer to reproduce it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't necessarily think that's true, but I think I think it's a very similar situation to what I mentioned, where a few devs do come. It's just like a handful of devs that pop around streams, but what they have the ability to do is email other teams that they know.
Yeah.
Like they know the team that can fix the bug. They see the bug, that you give them the IC report, and they give it to the people who need it. Like DJ is probably one of the best examples of somebody who like can work with that, because Arena Commander is flight, master modes, FPS, level design, right? Sound, all these things are all in one place. It's like, super compact PU basically in some ways. So you can just be like, hey, I'm having this issue with this specific thing. He'll probably have worked with the team and knows who to talk to. So in that case, like that's an advantage that a streamer has over a regular player. Is that fair? Who cares as long as the bug gets fixed?
I don't even think
right?
it's
like,
a streamer thing though. It's because I mean the same thing. This exact same bug I was complaining about in Astro's channel. See, I don't just complain in your channels. And Xylo was there. So like I just made a few comments saying, oh well, some people can't even get in the game.
Yeah.
And Xylo was in channel and he didn't sort of say anything. But then Execute came in and Execute's got the same issue. And Execute said, well, I can't get in the game. And then Xylo like piped up and said, oh, what's the problem, Execute? And it's not so much that like my complaining about it is invisible, but Xylo knows who Execute is and knows when he says, well, there's this issue and it means I can't get in the game, that it's not going to be, well, he's melted his package or something. And I think, I mean, that's how I've gotten problems recognized in the past, is if you can explain it in a way where you can say, this is exactly what's happening and it's not this sort of made up issue. In a calm
manner as well.
No.
Oh, it's not. Sometimes if you say it calmly on Spectrum, you don't get noticed.
I will say in that example, Aimless, I actually think that was in my chat the other day. And I don't think there was anything like weirdly malicious or anything about it. I think it was just a situation of Xylo was just kind of not really there. You know what I mean? Just sort of hanging out in a couple of streams because it was after the patch had come out.
I wouldn't say, I've had discussions with Xylo before, and it's not so much that he's sort of saying, oh, well, it's just some nobody and Execute is a streamer. He knows Execute knows what he's talking about, whereas me, he wouldn't know from, like, he doesn't know who I am or my experience with Star Citizen. And let's face it, the community complains a lot because we've got a lot to complain about, and they can't take that all in. They can only sort of take what they can. So I don't think there's as much of a streamer privilege thing going on. I mean, there's plenty of people in the community that aren't streamers that have been around for 10 years, and they do get listened to by the devs more than others. And that's fair enough, because they know the game just as well as the devs in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a privilege, but there's definitely an advantage in, well, I mean, there's privileges for other things, right? There is streamer privilege for sure within this game, but what I'm talking about specifically is like being able to fix bugs that are relevant to you would be the only thing that is doable, just because you have access to some developers sometimes, and then it's just easier to skip the live QA plus the this plus the that, all the 45 steps it would take to get to the actual developer's desk. It seems like just shooting a simple ping email is the way to get things done, and it's worked for me. And
other bugs do get solved though. It's not just the ones that streamers point out. They do solve other bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't think there's any privilege. It's just, I think it highlights that there's a kink in the chainmail somewhere that needs to get fixed somewhere, and hopefully they fix it. So, all right, Aimless, I guess we'll let you go. I don't want to hear your complaining anymore, guys. Like Croncy.
Until next patch.
Until next patch, yeah, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Hopefully they fix your stuff.
Yeah, hopefully catch them up.
Yeah, man. Later. But yeah, I mean, that's all the guests we have for right now. The only other thing that I was thinking about chatting about was Oh shit! I just lost my train of thought. Crap.
Well, I think we were going to talk a little bit about the Fury LX and the trailers, which you hate a lot, and I love trailers.
Sure.
I love trailers; they're great.
Listen, they're so cool, but I'm not getting duped by the trailer. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, it really doesn't matter. I'm not getting duped by it, but somebody is.
I don't know
Somebody
if they
thinks
are.
that's Star Citizen.
I don't know about that. Well, so my experience, all of this is going to be anecdotal, right? My experience with all of the trailers and stuff that I saw, even the ones that I saw that got me to pledge for the game, I never expected this as the game because they're just so heavily fictionalized in pretty much all of them. There are a few exceptions, and I do think the Hull C is a little bit weird because it doesn't feel like an ad, whereas a lot of them do. The Fury LX feels like an advertisement. I do not expect that to be exactly what that ship is like.
Well, how about the patch updates? Since 3.15, they've gotten worse in terms of becoming less realistic. And I think everybody's feedback on the 3.15 patch trailer was like, it was all in game. It was done so well. It was representative of what's in the game. Love it. And then they just stopped doing that, like, because the Hull C is very similar to the Hull C commercial, minus like the robots loading your
or the jumping through jump points,
the jumping to pyro.
I guess the patch ones are a little bit different, and it is like if I saw, for example, the Sea of Thieves patch that they had that was with Monkey Island. They had like a video for that. And that was pretty true to what is in the game, essentially. Like, it was cutscenes that happened during it, and then just like people running around being pirates. Like, it wasn't anything necessarily super special, right?
Yeah.
I guess, there is a lot more hand wavium and sort of fancy stuff they add to the patch trailers. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that before.
Yeah, because 3.15, I mean, we gave a lot of feedback on how good it was, and then they just like did the opposite for the rest of them. It was kind of like, what the hell, man? But that's more where my frustration lies than a ship commercial. Now, I probably was more frustrated about the ship commercials before, but now the way you explain it, it's like, yes, there's plenty of trailers in video games that are not representative of the game. But one thing that CIG always prided themselves on was, we do everything within the engine and blah, 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 blah. It's all, we're not, no smoke and mirrors. We show you the bugs at CitizenCon, and now they've been putting out these trailers because they know they work. I think, and that's the part that is like, over the last couple of years, the initiative to get new players is showing more and more and more and more, and choosing to make things that look cooler and cooler and cooler and that aren't representative of the game as much is definitely a choice that's being made, and one that I'm not a big fan of. I'm not gonna, maybe I ham it up a little bit for the react or something because I'm on stream and I'm having fun, and I love to make fun of the situation that I'm in. It's my favorite thing to do. It's fun. Take a fucking joke, people. Seriously. Holy shit. The tweets, it's all a joke. It's all supposed to be funny. Laugh. Laugh at the shitty situation you're in, okay?
Please laugh.
Don't take life so seriously. Holy crap. My God. I can't.
Mike,
I
have
can't
a drink of water.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I've in general though, so I've always loved the ship commercials. I think they do a good job at getting me hyped for ships without giving me necessarily unexpected expectations. But yeah, the patch ones are very, very different.
Yeah.
I would like to see, honestly, them do a lot more of stuff like they do with Whitley's Guide, which we're bound to get more of this year, and also the reunion. Do more of that sort of stuff. If you're going to heavily fictionalize these ship trailers anyway, go hard. Like, you did an absolutely amazing job last time.
Was the reunion a specific ship commercial for the MSR?
It was the MSR. Yeah, okay, essentially it was.
Essentially it was, but I feel like it was its own thing. Like, I remember not being annoyed by the reunion at all. It was like, oh, it's a cutscene of like, this is what maybe I can expect out of a Squadron 42 cutscene, or maybe a storyline one day in, because like WoW does this sort of shit, right? Like you kill a boss and then you get a cutscene. Diablo did the same thing. Like I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was. I wonder if because that was late 2021, I think, right?
Yeah,
and they've never done that again. Like the closest that we get is the Whitley's Guide, which have seemed to become more and more complex in terms of what like animations and whatnot we're seeing. But I think in general, from like the entire community, I didn't hear anyone shitting on that video, and it just disappeared afterwards.
Yeah. Because I mean, for me, it just didn't feel like there was a monetary goal tied behind it, where it's like they need to sell as many whole seas as possible because they've had not the best time, and the whole sea is an expensive ship. They stand to make a lot of money doing that. And I was like, wow, they made this thing look like, holy shit, this is everything I would have ever wanted out of cargo hauling on the screen. And I think it definitely is like pointing out their intentions for the systems going forward, but it was just so not representative of what anything you could do in the game. So yeah, it's just like, oh shit, I wonder who's going to get duped. Like, again, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. It's just, I wonder who's going to get duped. And then you just have people complain that there's angry backers, but like, where do you think they come from? They come from unrealistic expectations. Where those unrealistic expectations created from? They're created from CIG. So that's the only place they come from. They come from ISC, they come from SCL, they come from commercials, and they come from CitizenCon. That's where your expectations are created. Most content creators aren't creating your expectations. Even to some extent, those are going to be unrealistic expectations, because every content creator knows how to work around every single bug, and every content creator typically has a group of friends that play with that also knows how to get around every single bug, and your experience will likely vary, right? But to a lesser extent than these crazy commercials that they have. So I don't care. It's your own money. If you lose it, you lose it, kind of thing. If you feel like you wasted it, that's on you. But at the same time, it just sometimes is tough to be a part of the process if you feel like, and then you don't necessarily like that process. Just is, it sucks. But yeah, I don't know. We got one more caller. You want to take them? And then we'll probably start.
We'll get Johnny Morgan.
It.
We'll get Johnny Morgan in here. And another reminder to everyone watching on YouTube that if you want to call in, you can come to twitch.tv/SaltEMike every Sunday at 2 p.m. GM UTC. 3 p.m. UTC. Time is hard. And you can call. All
right. Johnny, what's up? Have you ever talked to Johnny before?
I haven't talked to Johnny, but I believe I've seen Johnny on Twitter a bunch.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Mike. I haven't been able to call in ages. I love the addition of Croncy to the show. It's been fantastic. No problem. Thank you, man. It's been good. So we're talking 320 patch, right? I've been out this morning. I just got in. I saw you guys were still live. I'm like, holy doodle. I can actually get on and talk to Mike again. It's been ages.
Hell yeah.
Last time I talked to you, things have been bad, right? So Kiddo is doing real well now.
Nice.
All the autism stuff, all that craziness, got it kind of sorted, new stability. I work 7 days a week now. That's why I'm never available on Sundays anymore. Yeah, it's real job, and then, kiddo doo-doo on the weekend. Yeah. But it's going well, and I'm going to get out of that funnel in about a year's time max, I think. So things are set up well. He's not super violent. All that stuff is good. Now, if only 3.20 could be as good as my autistic kid's direction in life right now, we'd be awesome. I'm actually quite happy with the patch, to be honest with you. Like, the back-end services crashing, terrible. It was so close, but so far, so close, guys. Like, I actually feel more for CIG than the community in this one, because they were so close, but someone missed some stuff in a process somewhere. Code review didn't happen. Someone's a little too junior and doesn't have whatever it was, right? Close, but not there. The engine upgrade's great. Hull C, I was skeptical of it, but we actually used it legitimately in Wake of Disaster. Probably your best cargo ship to bring to Wake to strip the hulls. That's been really fun. Thank you, Elliot, for getting that fixed. Like, so the cargo spawns correctly. We are not salvaging shit. It's not a salvage mission. I'm sorry.
Quote unquote
cargo
fixed.
mission.
Quote unquote fixed.
Oh. Well, yeah, we figured out the cargo issue, right? If you double stack your stuff, I don't know if this is general info.
No, not even that.
Make sure.
Not even just that. The Wake in particular and some other salvage missions spawn ships that you can't get the cargo out of.
Yeah.
So
like the raft and
like
stuff.
Which ones?
Yeah.
Raft. I haven't hit that yet.
Carrick and a couple others.
You can't get.
You can get the cargo out of the Carrick, but it's you're breaking the game more than it's already broken in order to do it.
Yeah, even if you blow the ship up, it's not.
You've essentially got to like wall clip it in order to get it out.
But we've actually hit hostilities there already. Like, so we've had two instances. One, Matt got ganked, and we found another guy that we took out, but he got away, unfortunately, with our weevil eggs.
Yeah, that just happened to me today. The guy got away with weevil eggs.
It's great. It's again. I think I pinged Elliot on Twitter, and you're talking about devs and reach, right? It was nice that I got a shout out from Elliot. Lets me know a little bit that maybe my opinion and voice and stuff and feedback actually reaches them. I think I have zero influence. I don't think anyone has influence on them when it comes down to it. I don't really think. I know I'm pivoting a bit. I don't think anyone has all that much influence outside of the CEO, like the C-suite team and the upper management, and they define what happens.
People think streamers have all this influence to make the project be different than it is. There's none. There's literally none. They have their vision, they have their decisions, and that's all they do. The only thing that I think that we can influence is hopefully fixing certain issues in the game. That's really the only example I can give.
The weight of your feedback kind of depends on your content, right? Yeah. So so Grumpy, while his feedback can be really good or on point, sorry, I shouldn't say good. His feedback can be on point on some things. The way he delivers it, I doubt they listen to him, right? Because it's just too hostile in nature. Whereas someone like, let's say, SaltEMike, this guy who's really friendly, everyone loves him. But no, you structure your stuff in a really fair way. So everyone in the community has always respected your opinion on stuff. Right, no one says Mike isn't coming from a place of passion. Well, there's always going to be an element of the vocal minority. I ignore them. They're ones I never really listen to. Vocal minority is it's not worth it. I think they're just disingenuous.
I think a lot of that comes from as well, though. Like they'll see a creator talk about some issue, and then it gets solved in the next patch, and they'll be like, "See, look." But it's like, but everyone was having that issue. This is not. You know what I mean?
Look at Cutlet's list of issues that have never been fixed. Right? Like, no. There's tons of stuff.
If there was actual influence, like there's some content creators that really focus on fixes and problems, and the shit's still there. So it doesn't make a difference. But
overall, I'm hoping they got to pull it together. Though I think we all get to that spot now. They're really close. They're running out of new players and money. I've spent my max pretty much on this game, and I'm only in the $400 to $600 range, right? That's about what I spent on MechWarrior Online and some of the other bigger MMOs that I played in my life. I'm sure they'll get me more on skins as I go along, but they're not getting me on ships.
What I've done is I melt a ship and then buy 35 different skins, and I'm happy.
Yeah,
that's what I've done. The ship I don't use, then I can buy some skins for ships that I do use.
I like the skins a lot. The skins have been great that have been coming out. I need more of them.
The pirate ones I liked, but they don't feel very pirate. They're just super cool.
They're just cool. It's just nice to have. Yeah. They're a harmless one that no one cares about sales-wise. I hope they do pivot in that and get away from, start focusing on cleaning up, getting the cosmetic business model up and running, which no one has a problem with. We all enjoy it.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. That was it.
Go.
The dude, this week on ISC, I wanted to punch a hole through my monitor. The solution for the subscriber items. We got to talk about this shit, Croncy. Did you see it?
I haven't watched it yet. No, I haven't had a chance yet. I've been busy.
So the solution is a lost and found. Now they're very vague, but it sounds like they're not getting to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is there's 47 different items of a certain gun because each skin is a different item. Instead of it being a skin that you can apply to the gun.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like you have a Gladius Valiant and a Gladius. It's the same fucking ship.
Yeah. I'm glad they stopped doing that.
Right?
With ships. Yeah, that was dumb.
So it's the same ship. So they're doing this over and over and over again. And then instead of fixing the root of the problem and going back and fixing that, they're just going to deal with it in a weird way that they mentioned that like duping would be a problem. And we know that it would be a problem. But then the solution sounds like duping. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. I don't understand. So I want to hear more.
So did they break it? Did they break it down like if the other person that gets your item loses the item? It could
no,
zero if no breakdown. One has it?
Zero breakdown. It goes, we know that there's all these edge cases, and then they go, and we're gonna have a lost and found in your hangar. That's what they said. Yeah. Like that is the extent of it.
Okay,
the solution is to fix
one.
the item, not to make a lost and found.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. Like that skin should be foundable.
I would say, like, I think like things like the Gladius Valiant and like the Pirate Caterpillar and whatnot are nowhere near as much as a problem as specifically the like sub items are.
Oh yeah,
because that's right. Like, yes, the Valiant and the regular Gladius are different ships. There's only like 5 or 6 examples really of that, unless you count every person who buys a Hercules plus the like Showdown Hercules or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just saying the only example I'm giving is the reason I'm giving that example is because those are mistakes that were made many, many years ago that we still continue to make today.
Yeah.
Right. And apply it to even greater scale, because now there's 4,000 different weapons of all different kinds that are on players' accounts and being spawned on the server. And what issue do we have? Database issues.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Oh my god, those have been bad.
Why?
That has been ridiculous. Like, I know PES is new and it's a new database structure and they built it all and all that type of stuff, but oof, that hurt on this one. It's all DB related too. On your point though, you're talking about, I'm with you on that. Like, it's a classic example of tech debt. This is how things get tech debt. They make decisions early on that then lock them into a path like the Raven or the Omega or Pirate Gladius or Valiant, right? So they stop that when they realize, oh crap, this is terrible, right? They did no more of those specialty ships. Mm-hmm. They cut that off a while back, right? Like
a long time ago,
I think it was smart, but the items they didn't. And I think those are easier fixed. Like the gun ones should just be essentially, we're deleting these items, we're making a skin for it, we're applying that skin. Here's the said standard gun with the skin automatically applied for you. Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom, migration done, right? We fixed that. Because those skins, I firmly believe, should be the rare loot for people in the game.
Yeah.
There should be no unique items at all just because you had a sub for 10 months to support Jared. Because that's initially what that sub was for, right?
Sure. Yeah. I also think that, cosmetics, you mentioned it too. Cosmetics should be purchasable and should be probably unique from things that you find in the game as well. I'm totally fine with that. Oh. I want them to fund outside of ships and outside of something that affects the game negatively. And I wouldn't even care if I'm not sure if I care if those are lootable or not. I
would love legendary skins and stuff like that not to be purchasable in the store. So regular standard skins, sure, and all that stuff, but the real legendary stuff where you want that unique ship, that crew or team or person, whoever grounded it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I want part of the big grind of the game is to be like cool, unique, legendary, quote unquote stuff, right? But at the same time, like, what are we going to do? Just fund the game from buying gold, and what are they going to do with that gold? They're just pay to win everything. I don't know. I'd rather it be more cosmetic based than anything. And if it takes having unique items that players can't, or unique skins that players can't lose, I'll take that over ships and money. In an MMO any day. Come on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question for you guys. So for me, I'm starting to feel like we're getting into the end game of alpha. I know it seems rough.
No
I'm
shot.
Gonna throw this out there. I want to hear people, but I think we're getting into the end game over the next 2 years. I'm still feeling really strong that they're going to wrap this up and start pushing hard.
Johnny, how can you say we're getting into the end game in the next few, and then have the next few years in the same sentence?
Oh, well, it's time scale, right?
Yeah,
so time scale is different. I'm not quarterly driven. I'm definitely not. I hate looking at quarters because it's too short of a time span.
I get it, but for me, 2 years away, so many things can happen in our lives in between then and now.
Yeah.
That
the game may fail. Like, they're in a spot, I think.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to say that we're right there. You know, this is the end. When 2 years away is the end.
I think Squadrons is coming like six months to a year. Easy. I think it's really close. I think Squadrons is really close.
Well, if they don't announce a CitizenCon, we know it's not.
Yeah, true.
Ooh, I think, yeah. Did you say if they don't announce it, it's on?
If they don't, we know for a fact it's not. Yeah, but I will say, in terms of like, you know, being close to like alpha finish, I don't think we're close to alpha finish until we get at least extremely close to feature complete, right? That's the only way we're getting into a beta, and so we still need so many things.
Feature complete in start, like, because here's the deal: feature complete to me, and feature complete to Johnny, and feature complete to Croncy, and feature complete to Chris are going to be all very different things. And Chris has been very vocal over the years that feature complete sounds like not fucking complete to anybody in comparison to Kickstarter promises and many other things. So
I don't have a good answer to that.
Yeah, because there is no answer, because they don't fucking communicate it to you. And that's the I complain about a lot of things, but a lot of those solutions are resolved if they communicate what game they're even making. Right? And
That's a good point, Mike. I haven't thought of it.
They tried. They're trying even with these, and that's what I commend Jared to the end of time for the episodes like the cargo one that we had this week, because at least you're communicating what your intentions are. So when you don't do them, we can say, hey, what the fuck? And when you do them, we can be like, nice, my expectations were met, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. So at least I know what I'm buying. I know what I paid for. That's, again, goes back to the trailers. It's not just the trailer, Croncy. It's the trailer plus no communication on what the game design is. Ashes of Creation is another MMO that's very similar to Star Citizen in ambition, making a lot of money, taking forever, guy at the top that, big charismatic person that everybody loves and makes pictures of him like he's God. But the game's not out yet and it's taking forever. But the difference between that project and this project, and why I have more faith in that project delivering, outside of the fact that it's a smaller scope and smaller scale game, is that they communicate their entire game design up front. This is how you're going to play this game. I already know how I'm going to play the game. I have no clue how I'm going to play Star Citizen a year from now, let alone 5 years from now. So,
on that side, I know how I'm going to play Star Citizen, because I play it the same way now. We do the combined arms gameplay. We're heavy into it. It's been very successful in 320. Like, we can't get a suit on, but the ship combat has been fantastic. Well, you can if you go to another station and stuff. It's like some extra steps that are annoying if you're doing ground combat.
Well, you should be all right now.
Big fights. Big fights all over, man. Oh, did they patch it today? I didn't.
Late last night.
Oh, okay. Nice. It's been good for that. Like, the desync's really low. The invisible player issue is mostly resolved, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So, like, I know I'm going to be involved in that large scale, deploy. Like, we're doing a 50v50 internally on October 7th, right? And that's our Skunkopoly Light that we're running. You'll see some content coming out of that, because we're going to try to, like, push it a bit more, because I think we have a good rule system there that balances it, and it's, it's fun. And we do all that stuff. We just did one with, we were fighting Shadow Moses and a bunch of other people around JT the other night. It's just because we have a good bench now on our light fighters team. So we have like that hardcore competitive in the team. We have a good chunk of casual competitive that fill up the upper rank, like the outer ranks, our task forces. And then we have just like the casuals that like to get involved a little bit. And then we have like the space dads who are our jackals, right? And do all the logistics work and stuff. And then the skunks kind of wrap it all together, up it together into a big team. So I know that's how I'm playing. That's how I plan to play Star Citizen from the beginning, and how I've done it, and how I'm going to continue to do it is bringing out large numbers to ruin everyone's day if they don't have the same large numbers. Sorry, boys. It's a team fucking game. Get your shit together. Get your teams together. You won't be able to compete in any of these features or stuff that you're talking about if you don't have the communication and logistical capability to field 100 people. Like, we can field 50 people really, really solid. Right, all working together. We have secondary comms going for it, blah 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 blah, et cetera, right? Like, we're on top of it, and I would say we're good contenders. There's not a lot of other people in our space, though. And we want other people in our space that mix the hardcore and the casuals together, because that gets the casuals to move into the hardcore. And we have a bunch of like stories like that. I always point out B-Dragon started as a miner. Now he's one of our best light fighter pilots, right? And that's because of the touch points of people he got to interact with and the opportunity. But it also was me, because I went combat first, but he outscaled me on combat. The guy owns my ass every day now, right? I can't fight him anymore.
Johnny, I guarantee you everybody who's listening is completely lost on what the fuck you're talking about, because you're talking about it this like any of us are in your org and play with you every day. Everyone is lost, including myself and Croncy.
Well, we feel combined arms is fielding everything.
There you go.
I just want to quickly go back to something that Mike said a little bit earlier, and sort of back a little bit to your original question. When was the last time that we got a proper, this is what we envisioned the actual game to be full release?
Never.
Because I think it was like 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, that round table. It was
a very long time
when I fell in love with Sean Tracy. That's why I love Sean Tracy. It was that round table with him. I'm just like,
works
dude.
Against. This is the only time that I will. I'm sure I'll do it accidentally, and please shit on me if I do. But really, the only time that I think they do something on purpose to make money is to be purposely vague with everything that they share, because they know it creates the vision in your mind that this is how I'm going to use that ship or play the game, and that is what funds the game. The vagueness of everything is what funds the game. Because if you knew what it is, you wouldn't buy it. Or certain people wouldn't buy it, right?
Yeah.
And now they're able to grab everybody, because everybody has their own vision of what it is in their head. And I think that this is a purpose-built thing that they do. They do not tell you the vision of the game, not because they don't want to disappoint you if it doesn't happen. It's because they don't want you to be disappointed by the vision of the game until it's too late. So, like, Cargo,
the vision of the game is too broad.
Well, there is.
It's the vagueness, right? Yeah.
You haven't been given it, so of course it seems broad. Yeah, of course it seems broad, because you haven't been given it. The sandbox MMO. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So what are the tools I'm using in this sandbox? What's the economy like? How's it going to work? They've been a little bit more vocal about that kind of stuff, like how the economy is going to work, but just never implemented it, right? So that's like the one thing that they've been extremely clear on is the economy. Outside of that, they've been very vague.
Well, no, dynamic events have been very clear on that. This will drive the story of whatever the game's going to be. But your point about what the game's going to be is valid in that, right? Like, so we've pushed 3 story elements.
What's the end game?
Xenos, Siege, and then like, so we get that this is how these dynamic events are going to move the story. But what is actually the story, and what are we doing within it? And like, is there actually a war going on? Because they have a lot of lore too. It's a good point, actually. They have never really nailed down.
What are orgs competing over? Like, because what are people? Yeah, but you just made that up in your head.
Yeah, but also,
I mean, that's also the one thing they said is that they'll be like those.
Yeah, they said that we won't.
Yeah, they literally said that we
won't control space stations.
But I know it was a point that you had to fight over. Like, orgs could fight over the derelict ones and take control of it. Hence, again, that big teams.
Maybe, but I think it was a couple months ago, maybe even a couple of weeks ago, they said no. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just in.
Yeah,
they
said
you
can't build space stations and own them. Yeah. No, that I get. Like, we still.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the thing of it is just like we don't know. Like we may know and find out this is how bounty hunting is going to work. Cool. How does that interact with everything
else?
Because that's how we play.
Why does
we know
it matter?
how this is going to work? How does that work with everything else? And that's something that we just have not heard about for a really long time. And if they did tell us, would answer so many of the things that we've been talking about. But like Mike said, yeah, it'd probably kick some people off the game. So
I don't think they have it. I actually agree with Mike on that. I don't think they actually have it because they don't connect things. One of my pieces of feedback to Elliot with Wake of Disaster is, why is this not firing off a mission for the red players who have been putting the time in as bounties for the bounty hunters to chase? Now I've committed to this as a blue team to go and get that cargo salvage. Why don't reward them for being good red players on the server and let them know, hey, here's an opportunity, a little nudge, right?
They've made that very clear. It's not meant to be a red versus blue.
What, with Wake?
No, it's not meant to be red versus blue. It's meant to be.
No, it's on the personal tab. It's supposed to be competitive. You're supposed to compete against people for it. It's supposed to be PvP.
Yes, of course, it's supposed to be PvP, but it's not a this gets delivered to red and this gets delivered to blue. It's
no,
just
I know.
Whoever
I mean,
wants
it's
to
just
go
the
goes.
pirate, right? Like, if you're going to nudge pirates, how do pirates know anyone's doing Wake of right now? Like, they have to go camp the salvage yards. There's no little nudge.
Now
There's
everyone's
no
doing it, so that's the
passive
easy bit.
nudge. Yeah, but
Wake
like
pops,
Ghost Hollow
and
has
you go.
Ghost
What do you
Hollow
mean?
has a passive nudge, right? Like, so you go to, well, once if you don't take the mission, there's no way to find out people doing it, right? And you have no confirmation if anyone else has taken it. So if you're just interested in robbing people doing that,
That's
you do
the
have to put it
risk.
out there and stuff like that. There's no risk in this one. Like, there's a very little risk, very high reward for it. That's my only complaint, is that there's not a lot of risk. You're out in the middle of nowhere, whereas Ghost Hollow, you have a passive
Ask
signal.
everyone we
you
just
take
killed
it.
this after or killed us. So
Yeah. It's there. It's there. I'm very happy. I was hopeful that would happen. I'm very happy to hear it happening. I still want a passive signal, though. I'm going to argue that one hard, because I think Ghost has one. When you take out the comm array, right, it has a passive signal. You can go there, and if on Microtech, if the comm array is down, there's a very good chance someone's at Ghost Hollow, right? And maybe they crashed out and they're not there, but there's a good chance that someone's there, and you can get combat and get engagement, steal the credits from them, etc.
Johnny,
Done all those things.
there's an upwards of 7 million credits at Wake. Somebody's at Wake.
Oh, yeah. Right
also,
now, for sure.
I don't think all of those features necessarily like need or even benefit from like being told that there is someone there doing it. I think the fact that you don't know,
that's what I love about
it.
It.
Adds to the risk.
Yeah,
right? That adds to like, well, I can go there because I don't know if other people are there.
Right.
I'm going to bring a
take,
party because I'm going to prepare.
It can take like an hour or two to strip the thing, and the mission's gone by then, right? And so what I'm trying to talk about is filling that gap between that 30-minute window when the mission pops and everyone races for it, and then once you're there, spending 2 to 3 or 4 hours, whatever time takes you to get all the cargo off, ship it back out, and sell it. You're pretty much out of the system at that point. You have no idea if Wake's going on, and there's no way to do a flyby. Whereas Ghost Hollow, you can just do a flyby. You don't have to take the mission to engage in Ghost Hollow. You could just go there and find out if someone's there. Wake is lacking that ability to do it. And I know it's because we're missing features, because there's no ability to find people in deep space and intercept them. If there was, you'd be able to find people doing Wake without having to take the mission. So I like the passive nudges and the passive systems that let you pick up on these actions and that there's stuff going on and that you may not necessarily have to take a mission for. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
I'm just going to type in Gen Chat as Wake safe, and then if they say yes, I'll
But how do you find it then? If you miss the half an hour window, right? It's gone. You don't get it. You have to wait till that mission expires and the next one pops. So that's my complaint.
That's what you get for such a massive reward.
Yeah,
like
that's what I get where you're coming from 1,000%. But the part that I'll have to disagree with is what is special about Wake is you don't know what you're getting there. And with Ghost Hollow, you also don't know what you're getting, but it's a little bit of this gamble, right? So I'm gambling 150K. Am I gonna make out?
No one else is gonna take that mission within the next half hour, or that someone else is gonna take it. But after that, you're free and clear. That's the part that I think there should be still some risk.
What do you mean free and clear?
Point. That's it. But once that mission goes away, you can't take it, right? So when you take it, when it pops, there's a half an hour window that people can take it. So if it takes you 2 hours to complete that mission, there's an hour and a half of it where you're, takes a while.
No one's actually stripping the vehicles. Everyone's just taking the cargo.
Yeah, because you can't strip right now. So everyone's grabbing the cargo and leaving. It's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, we took way longer because we had 420 Laranite to move off and stuff like that. But yeah, it took us, I think, about 45 minutes, an hour to get all that stuff done.
Yeah, and that's.
But still, I don't know why that's a bad thing. Still, though, like if
I just don't like it that you're basically invulnerable once that mission goes away. I just leave the mission.
But once you're not, though, like once again, as Mike was mentioning, there's only like 3 or 4 places where you can sell illegal commodities.
Yep.
Like
there's
somewhat
4,
easily.
4. So
the second that you the second that you see the mission disappear, assuming you knew the rough location of it, or even if you didn't, cool. I'm going to go sit where they're very likely to sell.
It's near Microtech. I'm going to Devlin.
No,
that's fair.
Exactly.
I'm good with that, right? As long as they didn't miss that mission window to take it.
The mission should I guess it's weird that it's open for 30 minutes only when it's a 2-hour mission.
I think that's weird. I guess that's really my only complaint. When it's
that's
like
probably fair.
As long as it's active, it should just be up so people can continuously take it and maybe come and rob me or figure out what you're saying or have that opportunity. But that's my only complaint of it, really. I just feel that there should be some way for people to know that I'm doing it after that mission is gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, even if it's just passive, and I prefer passive versus active. But I like them to go back to my point was, hey, how about we think about connecting these different groups together? Because that's kind of what we're talking about. So now we have wake people that are like salvage and maybe, let's say, cargo people and some combat people. Ghost Hollow has combat and like ground and air combat people, right? Like they mix together and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of thinking there. How do we bring it all together? And I think that's the part of the vision that's missing, to go back to what you were talking about.
I think that's what mining missions were supposed to be perfectly honest.
And how do you tie in bounty hunting and mining missions, right? How do they live together? Not tie in, but how do they live together in the same world? And where that big vision, what you guys were talking about, I feel is not really quite cemented in there too. And that's where I always have agreed with Mike, that they need to really just nail it down and stick to it and go with it. It doesn't have to be everything. It's going to piss off some people.
Game. Yeah. The thing is they don't hold themselves to anything because they don't have a game to make. They just have a sandbox to give you tools in, and that's what they want to do. Now, but I don't believe that's the plan. But maybe it is. Maybe that's been the thing the whole time, and that's what everyone, that's why I'm losing my mind. Is that's not what I think it is, and yeah, maybe I don't know. Then they have to come out and say we're not going to deliver any. Story gameplay. We're not going to deliver any progression. We're not going to do any of these things. Just do whatever you want.
We're going to be a combat simulation primarily, and like all the secondary stuff is we're going to dump, or we're going to keep on with this really big vision where we're going to try to tie it all together with this quanta system. We don't really know how we're going to do that yet because unfortunately it's still not finished, and the guy that we were really helping Tony quit. Oh, that was bad when I heard about that.
What?
I was disappointed when the guy that was working with Tony. The reason big delay of Quantum, my understanding, is because the guy that was like his number 2 guy quit.
Oh yeah, the guy with the beard.
Yeah, and so the replacing that skill set is hard. I mean, and the ramp up time for it
is way worse than that. It's way worse than that. Look at the last 2 weeks. ISC, the two guys in the 2 years ago cargo SCL that were on that, were they in that video? So.
I don't remember them.
Like gameplay people have come and gone, and we're replacing them with new people, and then they have to relearn the systems, and then they have their own decisions that they're making on how things should be, and it's taking longer and longer and longer. But Johnny, I guess we're coming up towards the end. So if you want to make a final thought, feel free. And
I really appreciate everyone's effort all across the community here, like all scopes of it. I like from. You know how I am. I like everyone in every bucket. I do believe Star Citizen is still that game that can be that big bucket for us. I do still feel strongly that we have to provide the content within it if they're going to go the sandbox route. Yeah, I've committed to that route, right, in that sense, so I'm good with it. But everyone else may not, and I would like them to clarify their vision. I'm 100% with you, Mike. Just clarify the vision.
Eve's a sandbox game. Don't forget that.
Yeah,
Minecraft's
exactly.
a sandbox game.
Yeah, they all have
and they're good
systems. There's systems on top of the ability for it to be a sandbox. We need systems. We don't just need sandbox tools. There's some really cool sandbox tools. SRV's coming. Awesome sandbox tool. What kind of systems are you going to add with that? That's what matters to me. You know what?
Me too.
That was the thing I wanted to talk about before that popped in my head. That's what it was that I lost. But yeah, but. That's where
next
I'm at.
week's on ATC.
Yeah, or maybe for like 5 minutes right now because I want to, Johnny. I'll let you go, and I'm gonna
listen. Yeah,
I'm gonna make that thought because it's something that this is the things that grind my gears about Star Citizen, and this is where I think it can just be so much better, and it just isn't. SRV comes. Sorry, I let Johnny go abruptly, but I think he understands. He's been a long time caller for forever. It won't bother him. Apologize, Johnny. The SRV comes in. It is a shovel or a rake to our sandbox, right? Like there's so many crazy things we could do with this thing for sure. And they left it a little bit vague again of you're going to be able to move things and ships. What are those things, right? Is it just going to be boxes, or is it going to be asteroids or other things? Like what can we do with this? Like the first thing that comes to mind is, plucking out all the shitty asteroids from mining job and leave the good ones so somebody can pick them up or whatever. Cool. What I want to see is systems come with these things. So at the salvage locations, hangar door opens up, you drop in your hull, you drop in your ship that you just grabbed with your SRV, and they do their own version of vehicle munching there. And they pay you like a scrapyard would pay you for the weight of the thing or whatever type of material it might be. And you just get paid, right? So the SRV comes, grabs a ship, whoop, drops it off. That's it. Simple system, nothing crazy. That's all I want to see. So you got to bring systems with the sandbox.
With that example, I don't think that's remotely simple. Think about how many teams that's actually encompassing.
No,
and think about
nothing simple.
Longer that would be.
But
no,
what
I know,
I'm saying,
I know, but it's like
what I'm saying is not a freight elevator that goes to a kiosk, that goes to the economy, that goes to.
Oh, sure.
Right, that's what I mean by simple. Nothing with this game is simple. That's clear.
Simple gameplay. Something that's like easy for you to do. Yeah,
minimal steps. People understand exactly what it does, and that's what I mean by simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I drop
100%.
things off. I get money. Like it was, simple.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
And you know what you're describing, Mike? You're describing a fully delivered feature, a tier 3 feature, if you will.
No. Yeah. I mean, well, a fully delivered feature is, I think, if we did it ourselves.
Sure.
So like proper hull munching on a reclaimer or whatever. But why not figure out munching before that in a more simple way?
Yeah.
I just open a hangar, the hangar closes. We have, what are they called? Like monster lockers or whatever? What do they call them?
Monster lockers.
Where the NPCs come out of? What were they called again? At the bunkers?
The spawn elevators. I think they're literally called spawn elevators, aren't they? Or
spawn
lockers?
closet.
Spawn closets. Yeah.
Somebody called them a monster closet one time, and for whatever reason that's in my head. But yeah, just like a spawn closet for whatever you dump down there, and you get what you get. It could be a vehicle, it could be a ship, it could be a weapon. You just throw it down there, and they'll give you some money.
Weirdly enough, partially what you're describing also sounds a bit like what's supposed to come through the consignment missions, and the SPK boxes and whatnot.
Yeah. We currently have a very miniature version of that when you do deliveries, right? You put it in the Amazon locker, it disappears, you get paid. It's already there. It's just recognizing a ship. So maybe it's more simple than we think.
Maybe it is. Come on, Elliot.
Elliot's
mission
here
team.
in chat.
This is mission team focused. Why not?
He also said, I'm not stupid. Monster closet and spawn closets are the exact same thing. I don't feel dumb. Nice, because I felt dumb for a second there. But yeah, that was just something I was thinking of when I saw the SRV. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. It's going to be a cool sandbox thing. But why not, if you're going to deliver, if you know this thing is coming, why not make a little initiative instead of, mining missions to do a little miniature thing with this? Because then the ship, if they really cared about ship sales, that's what they would do. So that's like part of the things was like, where you get on them for ship sales. They don't do the maximum to make the maximum. Because you would deliver gameplay with that ship if you wanted it to work. They tried a little bit with the Hull C. That's kind of the example that I would give. Some fucking
and the Vulture, like the Vulture came mostly working. Yeah.
Exactly, with missions for it, right?
After a patch, yes.
Yeah, one patch later. Yeah. So it was in the plans. Yeah. It was in the works. It was in there in that window. So yeah, that's just what I'd like to see. I think it's fine to deliver it without it, maybe for a patch, actually. Make sure things work, and then on deck have something good to go. But yeah.
So maybe we won't be complaining about the Hull C anymore in like a couple months' time.
Hopefully not. Yeah. I think we will, because it seems like it's a bigger undertaking to get that all working out. Because but. I don't know. I would say we've had a good ATC. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Shilsey.
That was. Oh wow. You know what? I'm not letting you in my Fury LX now. That's what you got. Okay.
That's fine. Well, I don't think we could both fit in it anyway, right? It's a single seater. Can I sit on your lap?
Well, until we get the Fury LX DS.
True. What will that have aside from 2 seats?
I don't know, but it'll definitely be faster. We didn't get to talk about it, but as a very small thing. like we sort of went to it a little bit earlier, where I just mentioned I've been so annoyed for the longest time at people saying COG just release ships that are better than others, and it hasn't happened for like 2 years, where there's been like, here is a ship, it is objectively better than everything else in its class. And then they released the Fury LX, and hey guys, it's objectively better than everything else in its class.
Last time,
so
what would we say? The
Redeemer iffy
Redeemer
about it being like objectively better.
The one that they just fixed, the Ion and the Ares.
Yeah.
That released really buggy, but yeah.
But yeah, it's been a hot second, and now it's happened again. Now that happens in every game in general, but it's very disappointing to see it happen again. So
yeah, I mean, when it's tied to money, people are always going to be a little bit more skeptical of it, right? And that's just what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't think the Fury LX is for a very niche part of a very niche game. So like this can't possibly be for like that much money. You know what I mean? Like how many people are buying the Fury LX? I'm not. Like, and I possibly will like racing. I'm not going to buy the thing. It's small thing. Hull C is a different story. That's a little bit wider, but yeah, I don't know. Do you feel more or less confident today after since last week? Since last week,
always confident. 320 is a great patch, and it had no problems at all. This last week didn't happen.
You disgust me. You make me sick. But yeah, no, I think when I've played the patch, it's been fun. But at the same time, there's a lot of problems that we wish they didn't make, and we called them all out leading up, and it's just like, damn, I don't want to be right. I don't ever want to be right when I'm being negative. I want to be right when I'm like, wow, that was really fun, and that's it. So we get a little bit of both this week. So thank you guys for watching, as always. Croncy, thank you again for being here. And yeah, man, I think like, subscribe, all that stuff if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, you can participate on Twitch if you haven't. Twitch.tv/SaltEMike, Sunday mornings, 3 p.m. UTC, 10 a.m. Eastern time, if that works for you. And yeah, if you're on Twitch and you didn't catch the whole show, it'll be up on YouTube in a couple hours. So Sunday afternoons, and check out the little intro. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, because I didn't make it, but I get proud of it. I don't know. I have nothing to do with it, and I'm proud of it. It looks super cool. It's very subtle, but it's very cool. So yeah, Croncy, again, thank you, and we'll catch you guys next week, I guess. Bye, everybody. Hopefully,
see you guys next week.
More fun stuff to talk about, like all the fixes. I can hear the game sounds again. Yay.